Man, I'm about to pass out.
We heard short yesterday.
Yeah, that's what Mark said yesterday. 5 minutes. He went on for 45.
And your video of this, is this on a private network?
Ja.
Okay.
Så vi gör det på väg ut.
Ja, det har varit en del jobb den här helgen.
Okay. I think this is, it's kind of weird to say. As coaches, you have strengths and weaknesses. I feel like in-game adjustments is probably one of my biggest strengths. Right? I feel like it's not been a great strength for me lately because I do a lot better of it when I'm in the box. And I'm not in the box as a head coach. Now, here's what it all comes down to me. You have to know what stops your plays. You have to know. If you don't know what gives a play a problem, you're not going to be able to adjust to it. I see it constantly. We are so guilty of this. It drives me nuts. We'll call a play, doesn't work. Call a play, it doesn't work. And I'm on the field, I can only see so much, and I'm going, what's going on, what's stopping it? Well, I don't know. Well, if we don't know what's stopping the play, that's a problem. Let me give you a great example. You have to know your plays so well. And it is true, less is more. And I'm guilty of doing too much. And I do it because I sit there and I go, it's such a good play, it's such a good play. I'm going to just power right now. I'm going to talk through power. If I'm running power to the right here, I know what gives power issues. I've been running power for so long. I've studied it. The way we block power is we're going to double here to the backside linebacker. Our center fills for our pulling guard. Fullback would kick. Backside guard skip pulls to the play side, and we power hinge. That is power. I don't care how your defense is set up. I know what's going to block power. So going into the game, I watch film. I know the numbers of their players. I know their linebackers, number 44 and number 13. We run power. I cannot watch all of this. I have a coach that watches play side. I have a coach that watches backside. My receivers coaches and my DB coach, or my skill coaches, are supposed to be watching to see what is the secondary doing out of this formation. So I have eyes assigned. Now, if that's not an option, I don't really need all that. Here's why. We run power, and let's say number 44 makes the play. What do I know has happened right now if number 44 has made the play? Let's decipher this real quick.
The guard is block.
First thought is the guard has probably missed the block. Exactly. So I've got to ask my guys so I have a clipboard with me or a piece of paper with me, and I write on it. A dry erase board. I stopped doing that because it's freaking humid and wet all the time. My dry erase board was always wet. So I have a permanent marker, and I write on the back of the call sheet. I write power. Play side guard, play side linebacker, 44. And I write that. And when my guys come off, I'm asking, why didn't you get to the backer on that power we ran? Because I'm assuming he misses the block. He says, somebody grabbed my foot. We have to have a conversation about why he didn't get there. Okay, well, why did somebody grab his foot? Who are the potential people that could have grabbed his feet?
Nose.
The nose and the tackle. So I'm going to ask my interior guys, did you give up penetration? Coach, I had a problem there. They had a guy head up on me. The center says he was head up on me. Okay? So now I know this was going on. And I go, so you weren't able to back block? And he goes, no, I had a guy head up on me. I had to take him. Okay? So I look at my guard that pulled, and I said, did you have a guy on you? He said, yeah. I had a guy down on me. I'm going, who in the hell was on him then that grabbed his foot? Now I look at my left tackle and I say, what'd you have? Well, I didn't have anybody on me. So now I know what the problem is. He said, I had a backer way outside of me. Well, they've switched their front on me, and we've not noticed it yet. Happens all the time. The coaches haven't picked up on it. They bumped that in inside. This is a different defense. This is a double eagle now. We're trying to block a double eagle without getting the 3 technique. This 3 technique grabbed my guy. I know a double eagle gives power problems because I've studied power. The one defense that really struggles for power is a double eagle. If you don't block it right, you're screwed. So I now know we have to make a change to power. Does that make sense? I work backwards on mistakes of plays. Because it's easy to sit there and go, well, power's not working. Well, there's a reason. Power works. It's always worked. Why is it not working? So now I know you have to know what stops you. You have to see it or talk through it. And I work backwards a lot. And you have to have an answer. So we're a power team. Teams do this to us a lot. Even in spread, they'll leave him wide to stop outside runs. And they'll move that guy in to stop power and give us 2 4-eyes or 2 3 techniques. And they'll disguise him, guys. They'll put him in a 4-eye here to make him look like an end to the coaches. And then he'll just chase that guard. And our tackle can't get to him. So I have to do one of 2 things. I know my adjustments. If my tackle can, I've got to cut that end. I've got to cut my B gap, cut the B gap. If he can't, or if it's really giving us a problem, I'll backpick my guard and pull my tackle and still run power. That's an in-game adjustment for us. That all stemmed from something stopped us. What? Well, number 44. Now, 8 out of 10 times, your guy's going to say, I didn't stay on the block. If your guard looks at you and says, I got there, coach, I just didn't stay on it. Well, their guy beat you that play.
So, coach, just a question for you, because when we started talking about point number 1, it was more of the weak. I understood the weakness of the play, but basically what you're saying, you're just like reducing, like you're deducting from number 44 made a tackle.
Yeah.
Why did he make a tackle? Because he wasn't blocked by the guard. Why wasn't he blocked by the guard? So you're kind of asking questions, getting to the root of the core.
Know what stops you now, first and foremost. What stopped the play now?
Yeah.
And then also know what stops your play
in general.
Anytime. And the reason this is important is because if you don't know what stops it anytime, you won't have answers in a game. Great example. John Hart and them, they showed the first thing they were showing in the running back, Coach Yoder was showing this yesterday, this long trap. Did you hear what I asked him after that one big long run? Do you remember what I asked him? And he said, you're right. I said you left the backer on.
Yeah, who takes care of the backer?
So they ran long trap, which to them is here, double here, kick there, hinge, and they doubled back. They ran long trap like that. And I said, well, they just beat that guy. So to me, the reason I don't run trap out of spread is because you leave both D ends unblocked. They can get to your quarterback and hit him because there's no long edge, because there's no tight end. And if I'm running regular trap, I can get to them both. Yeah. But I leave 2 ends unblocked, and those ends are closer to the ball, can make the play. So I get away from it. Or I need to have tight ends in, and then I can run it. Or you've got to have a 41 box.
Yeah.
Well, if you don't have a 41, that stops this play. So say you run that play, and you know this guy made the tackle. Well, it's easy to know why. Know what stops you. What stopped me right now on this play? Well, that linebacker. Why did that linebacker stop me? Because anytime we run long trap out of spread and do a 2 linebacker look, we can't account for one of them. I know that piece before I even go into the game. Does that make sense? Yep. You have to know what stops you. When we put your protection up, what was the first thing I figured out when I put it up? You remember what I said?
The backside.
This gives you problems if the defense
yeah.
does this.
Oh yeah.
I always think, and I've talked to you about this before, but I know I say a lot of this stuff. Again, I've been doing this a long time now, guys.
You already know.
This is how you find out what stops your plays. I'm tired. What did I do wrong, Andy?
SC.
There's no seed scenario. Oh, you missed a seed.
There's no C, but you missed the C.
I mean, right.
It looks like first.
A
SC.
scenario. That sounds like a Mexican.
Y'all get what I'm saying. I can't even see what's wrong. Shit. I'm tired.
A scenario. I'm confused. Where are we?
So you gotta know what stops the play. All right? By doing that, you can find your adjustments. Okay? For example, I don't think we do a very good job of this, and I'll be honest. It's because I see things different than the rest of my offensive staff does. I always see worst case scenario. When we're running the ball out of spread, like right now, I think about this stuff all the time. This marker sucks, but at least it knows how to spell. Okay, say we've spread the field like this to run the ball. Well, if you run the ball out of spread, why are you running it? Are you running it just to run it? Because if you spread the field, what do you know you have less of right away? Blockers. I love running the ball out of spread. Because if I'm doing it right, that's why I like RPOs, not because of the throw. I like it because it removes a guy from the box to run the ball. That's why I like it. And if they don't, we've run the ball really well out of spread. Last year we didn't. The times we didn't was because those outside linebackers that they stick down there, because they know we're going to run the ball, so we get a ton of this. .44 defense, because we run the ball well out of spread. So these linebackers start doing what?
Cheating.
Oh yeah. And our slots aren't covered. I go back and I'd watch film. I can't watch the whole field. I'm watching this. I'm watching film after the game and I'm going, shit, they're not a 44. They're basically like a 44 stack. They're not even covering our slots. Why the hell aren't we throwing the ball? Nobody saw it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, that's not good coaching if we don't see that stuff. And so I get frustrated by some of those things. We have to know if we're running the ball out of spread and we're not popping plays 5-7 yards of play, there's a reason. Why? Well, these outside guys are playing the box tight. They're folding in and making the plays. Well, what's our answer to that then? What's our in-game adjustment to this? There's a bunch of them. It doesn't matter. I mean, give me some. Give me some.
All verts.
All right? Hell yes. Here's the problem in our offense last year. Every time we get this, I don't give a damn. We should be running all verts or curl arrows.
Yep.
Right now. Curl arrow on both sides. We can run a curl arrow here. Put him in a bind. We've got the arrow if he's cheated to the box, or we've got the curl if it's cover 3. I mean, great way to get those guys back out of the box. Or, like you said, all verts on both sides. How the hell look off the safety and throw it? Stealing. Okay? The problem is, we don't have an answer. We are not making in-game adjustments because we're just lining up and spread, calling a run play. What Brownsburg does, and why they had so much success out of it, and what we're going to do, and I told Ben this today, this year out of 2x2, every play is going to be a check with me, regardless. It's either going to be a run that's tagged with an RPO that punishes this. So, if, for example, if we do go to long trap, we'll throw the hitch here now. Every time. But what I like out of it, because he could stay wide and we still have a 6-man box, right? That's the first thing I thought of when they said they throw the hitch out of this.
Oh, we still have the non-block defender
Right.
in the box.
Which is a problem. Now, what if you do this? What if you're running slant bubble out of this? It's the same concept, but could I throw a slant bubble if I have a six-man box anyway? Do you see my point? Because I don't want to run into a six-man box because I can't block those two backers. But couldn't I throw? The only way I'm going to get a six-man box is if they're either like this or if they're like this.
Yep.
And if they're like this, can I run slant bubble? Hell yeah, I can. Over here, I can pick it apart. So to me, I almost wonder if we want, and I was thinking about that as we were talking about some other stuff today, that may be a better adjustment for us, because if we run the hitch and they stay in that, or I have to be able to always check to all verts or curl arrow every time. So that's what I do when I think of in-game adjustments. My first thought was their long trap. I saw that and I thought, damn, that's good. And then I thought, well, wait a minute. They're always getting a 41. Coach Colmer, how many times do we get a 4-1 defense? We never get a 4-1 box. We typically get a 4-3 out of 2-by-2, because we run the ball so well.
So, a question for you, Coach. It seems like a lot of what you're saying goes back to the eyes part. Like,
You've got to see what's
seeing it
happening.
and having assignments for the coaches and
You know,
writing it up and
Yeah.
drawing it up and
we give officials a lot of shit for watching the football. We always say they don't see what happens, but you know what?
We do too.
Coaches do the same damn thing.
probably worse.
I mean, I hear it all the time. Like we'll be early, especially a big rivalry game. It'll be like the first drive of the game, and we'll pop a huge run, and I'll hear all our coaches in the box on the headset, run, 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 and after the play's over, I'm like, what'd the backside DN do? And nobody can tell me because they were watching the damn ball. And now we've left a play on the field because we're too emotionally caught up in the game and we don't know what the end did, and that's not my assignment. I'm play side run watcher on the field all the time. I'm watching point of attack, so I know what's going on. All right? So I'm sitting there going, what'd the end do? I don't know. I have to watch the next play. I'm like, well, shit. The whole point of that play, like when we go into games, there's certain plays from watching the other team I know. This play, I want to watch what the DN does on the backside of this play because we have a naked end that could really punish them this week. I think the answer to this will give them problems. Or we'll go in, say they always have a 3 technique. Well, I know if I always know where their 3 technique is, I have midline going into the game. We don't carry midline every week, do we? We may get it twice a year, but when we get it, it's always been really good to us. And I only put it in when I know what they're going to do. And then I think, okay, well, what's their answer to midline? They're either going to move the 3 or line up in 2 techniques. So when that starts to happen, what is my answer? So I'll go midline and I'll pair it with a check. And my quarterback coach hates that. He's like, why do we have these checks? I'm like, well, because if this 3 technique's not there, you can't run midline to a 2-eye, but power's damn good. So we need to go midline check power. We may never run the power, but if it's not there, then that's our answer. That's an in-game adjustment, in-play adjustment.
And it saves you timeout.
And it saves us from burning a lost yardage play, maybe a turnover. I love checks. I love the ability to check on the field because then I don't have to wait in between plays to make fixes. But you've got, there's nothing worse than coming in at halftime and your coach is all going, what the hell are we getting? Does anybody know what we're getting? That's the worst feeling ever. You have to have a coach watching the secondary. You have to have a coach, and not just watching them. Yeah, they're cover 3. Well, when do they cover 3? When we're 2-by-2, are they cover 3? Because an answer for cover 3 is all verts and 2-by-2.
Yep.
So you have to know what you're getting and what the answers are to it. And that's as easy as a kid that doesn't play much. Like, who's your starting 5 on your guys' O-line right now?
These 3 plus the 2 other ones that we have.
We only have 5, so
We
it's
have
quite
5.
easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So starting is really pretty easy.
The biggest issue that we have when it comes to that is, since they start O-line, they rotate over to D-line,
Yeah, that
and then
makes
they
it
go
tough.
back to O-line.
But all 5 of them aren't playing D-line.
Well, there's one coming out.
Who's the first one out?
That's
That-
me or GP.
Or Teddy, who's going to linebacker.
JP, you ought to be the first one out. You know why I just said that? If I was coaching you, you'd be the first one to come out. You would not play O-line and D-line for me. You'd play O-line. Do you know why? Since we've been in here with the O-line clinics, what did he answer? He answered every question I asked right. His thought process towards what you're doing up front, I'm not saying theirs is bad. You guys think he knows what's going on pretty well up front? Because he sure, I got the feeling today you really know what's going on up front. If he does, he's the guy that should be the rotator on defense because he can see what the mistakes are, go back in the huddle, and communicate with guys about what needs to be fixed because he understands it well. Does that make sense? That's a good way to make an adjustment game-wise because you can't get in the huddle. He can. So maybe he comes out, you make a couple adjustments, he goes into D-line 3 plays later, tells the guys in there what the adjustment's going to be on the next series. Make sense?
Yep.
That's a good way to do that. If it's a really big deal, if it's something that's like the difference between a sack and not a sack, call a timeout. You got to do it. I ran out of timeouts by halftime every game we ever played in when I was over here. Because there was always like a guy that was, like I went and watched the Bulls the other day. And I gotta be careful. There was a guy on the line that wasn't doing. Luda, come here. Stand right there. We're all watching the game from the sideline, right?
Yep.
Luda's offense. I'm defense. You're looking up here, you see both of us. Hold a notebook up and block him out. Now what do you see? Defense. O-line. Block out. If you're looking at the secondary, use a piece of paper or a notebook, block out everybody except the secondary. You train your eyes that way. You know how I learned to do that? Watching film. All of our film is from what angle? The sideline first. So when I watch film and I'm watching another team, I will block out everybody except the O-line and D-line and see who their best D-linemen are. I'll watch a whole game like that to see where their studs are. Because you don't see anything else, you see what truly is going on in that box right there. It's one of the best ways to scout teams to see where guys are is to make your eyes watch a certain thing. It's amazing how different a game is when you watch it like that. That helps a lot.
Good stuff.
That's all I got.